What if you went camping with your closest friends, laughing under the stars, only to vanish without a trace? What if, 5 years later, a single discovery unraveled a secret so dark it would haunt an entire town forever? Hey, don't forget to like. Please subscribe for more shocking crime stories and hit the bell icon. The darkest truth are yet to come. In September 2013, 5 friends, Lila Harper, Sarah Nguyen, Emily Carter, Mia Rodriguez, and Ava Thompson drove into the dense woods of the Black Hills National Forest in South Dakota for a weekend getaway. They were 22, fresh out of college, their whole lives ahead of them. Lila posted a photo on Instagram at 3:14 p.m., the 5 of them grinning in front of her silver Toyota RAV4, captioned, "Chasing adventure, no signal, no stress." The comments were lighthearted. Sarah joking about bears, Emily promising s'mores. They were supposed to be back by Monday. They never returned. The Custer County Sheriff's Office found their campsite 2 days later, untouched, like they'd never even unpacked. Sleeping bags were still zipped. A cooler full of unopened beers sat by the fire pit, and Mia's sketchbook lay open on a log, a half-finished drawing of the pines. No footprints led away, no tire tracks, no signs of a struggle. The RAV4 was gone. It was as if the forest had swallowed them whole. Search parties scoured the Black Hills for weeks, volunteers, dogs, helicopters. The girls' families clung to hope, but the case went cold by December. 5 families were left with nothing but questions, their lives fractured by loss. I first heard about this case in a faded newspaper article at a diner in Rapid City. Years later, the headline stuck with me. 5 missing in Black Hills. Where did they go? It wasn't just the mystery. It was the weight of it, the way it lingered in the town like a ghost. Fast forward to September 2018. A hiker named Greg Lawson, a 42-year-old mechanic from Custer, was out with his dog on an unmarked trail when he stumbled across something odd. A narrow dirt path, barely visible, winding deeper into the forest. Greg had hiked these woods for years, but this path was new to him. Curious, he followed it. A half-mile in, the trees parted, and there it was, a crumbling cabin. Its wood grayed by time, windows boarded up, roof sagging like it was tired of standing. In front of it, half hidden under pine needles and moss, was a silver Toyota RAV4. Greg's dog froze, growling. Painted across the cabin's wall in faded black letters was a message: "Leave this place. Nothing here is worth your life." Greg's heart pounded. He wiped the grime off the RAV4's license plate, South Dakota, expired 2013. He knew that plate. Everyone in Custer did. It was Lila Harper's car, the one from the missing girls case. He called 911, his voice shaking. "I think I found them. The girls from 2013. Their car's here." Sheriff Laura Bennett arrived in 20 minutes, her cruiser skidding on the uneven dirt. At 54, she'd been deputy when the girls vanished, and the case had haunted her career. She recognized the RAV4 immediately, its bumper sticker still legible. "Adventure awaits." She ordered Greg to stay back and called for backup. The FBI rolled in by dusk, cordoning off the area with yellow tape. The cabin became a crime scene, crawling with agents in white suits. Inside, the main room was a time capsule of decay-rotted furniture, cobwebs, a floor littered with leaves. But on a splintered table, something gleamed. A keyring with a tiny silver star, engraved with Lila. Sheriff Bennett's hands trembled as she recognized it from the missing posters. The girls had been here, but where were they now? The search moved to the basement, access through a trapdoor hidden under a rug. The door was steel, locked from the outside, its edges scratched as if clawed by desperate hands. Agents forced it open, and the air turned heavy, with a stale, metallic smell. Inside, 5 backpacks were lined up on a shelf, each tagged with a name and marker: Lila, Sarah, Emily, Mia, Ava. Next to them, 5 phones, their screens cracked, batteries long dead. Women's clothes were folded in neat stacks, jeans, sweaters, a single hiking boot missing its pair. The walls were worse. Scratched into the wood were tally marks, hundreds of them, counting days. In one corner, in shaky handwriting, was a plea. God, please, get us out. Below it, in different ink, Day 87. Sarah stopped eating. Sheriff Bennett felt her stomach turn. These girls hadn't just been taken, they'd been held, imprisoned in this forgotten place. The FBI found fingerprints, hair, traces of blood matching the girls' DNA. They lived here for weeks, maybe months, but there were no bodies, no answers about where they'd gone after. Imagine standing in that basement, staring at those tally marks, knowing 5 young women scratched them while hoping someone would find them. Would you keep looking, or would the weight of it make you turn away? The investigation exploded. The cabin wasn't on any maps, its ownership tied to a defunct logging company from the 1960s. Locals whispered it had been abandoned since a fire in '79, but someone had maintained it, kept it hidden. The black paint on the warning was fresh, maybe 2 years old, meaning someone had been here long after the girls disappeared. Agent Mark Torres, leading the FBI team, studied the message on the wall. "This isn't just a warning," he said. "It's a taunt. Whoever wrote this knew what happened here, and wanted to keep it buried." Lila's brother, Ethan Harper, got the call at his construction job in Sioux Falls. He was 28 now, but the last 5 years had aged him a decade. He'd never stopped searching, hiking the Black Hills every weekend, chasing leads that went nowhere. When Sheriff Bennett told him about the RAV4, he drove 200 miles in 3 hours, his truck rattling over mountain roads. At the scene, he saw the car, the star keyring, and broke down. "That's Lila's," he choked out. "Where is she? Where's my sister?" The FBI had no answers yet. The basement revealed more horrors. A second room, smaller, with a single metal chair bolted to the floor, restraints dangling from its arms. A drain in the concrete was stained dark. The walls here were smooth, untouched, too far from the chair for anyone to reach. Torres pointed to the scratches around the doorframe. "Different handwritings," he said. Each girl carved her name: Lila Harper, Sarah Nguyen, Emily Carter, Mia Rodriguez, Ava Thompson. The carvings weren't just names, they were proof of survival, of defiance. A journal was found, under a loose floorboard, not written by the girls. Its pages were meticulous, dated from September 2013. The first entry read, "The 15th of September 2013. They're settling in. Lila's the loudest, always talking back. Sarah's quiet, watches everything. Emily prays. Mia draws to cope. Ava's already breaking." The writer described feeding schedules, punishments, a chilling routine. The 3rd of October 2013. Moved Sarah to the chair room. The others heard her scream. Good for control. Ethan read one page and vomited in the grass outside. This wasn't random. Someone had planned this. Someone local. Someone who knew the forest like their own backyard. Sheriff Bennett cross-referenced property records. The cabin was tied to a man named Victor Grayson, 62, a recluse who lived on the edge of Custer. Victor was a handyman, known for fixing fences, clearing trails, always around but never noticed. He'd helped in the 2013 search, pointing out dead-end trails, offering coffee to volunteers. His son, Caleb Grayson, 27, had been there too. Quieter, always trailing his father. Caleb had died in a car crash in 2017, a single vehicle accident on a back road. No autopsy, just a small-town ruling. Tragic loss. Torres dug deeper. Victor's family had owned land in the Black Hills since the 1942. The cabin was one of 6 properties, most off-grid, unlisted. The paint on the warning matched a can sold at Custer Hardware in 2016, ordered by Victor. He knew, Torres said. He was here after the girls were gone, marking this place to keep people away. But why? And where were the girls now? Ethan refused to leave the site, sleeping in his truck nearby, watching agents work. He found a photo in Lila's backpack, a selfie of the 5 girls, taken the day they arrived, pinned to the basement wall like a trophy. They were alive here, he told Torres. They fought to stay alive. I'm not giving up until I know what happened. The journal's last entry was December 2013. 3 down, 2 left. Lila's still fighting. Sarah's mine now. Ethan's hands shook as he read it. 3 of his sister's friends were dead by then, but Lila and Sarah might have survived longer. The paint from 2016 suggested someone, Victor, had returned years later. Was he covering tracks or hiding something else? A breakthrough came from Greg Lawson, the hiker. He remembered selling paint at Custer Hardware years ago. That black shade, Midnight 32, wasn't common, he said. Victor ordered it special, 5 gallons. Fall of 2016. Said it was for a barn, but he didn't have one. The receipt was still in the store's archives. Time-stamped October 2016. Paid in cash by Victor Grayson. Why paint a warning 3 years after the girls vanished? Torres's team searched Victor's properties. At his main cabin, 5 miles from town, they found a locked shed. Inside, more evidence. Women's clothing. Not just from 2013, but newer. Some from 2017. A box held IDs: Lila's driver's license, Sarah's student ID. Others from girls reported missing in Wyoming and Montana. Victor wasn't just a lone predator. He was part of something bigger. Imagine finding your sister's ID in a stranger's shed, knowing she was there, suffering, while the town went on with its barbecues and football games. Would you scream, or would you keep digging, no matter what it cost you? The FBI traced Victor's bank records. From 2013 to 2017, he'd received $10,000 monthly deposits from an account tied to a shell company in Denver. Someone was paying him. And not just for odd jobs. Torres pulled records of missing women across the region. 27 cases since 2010. All young, all from small towns. Many linked to areas where Victor worked. He's not working alone, Torres said. This is a network. Sheriff Bennett remembered something from 2013. Victor had been at the search command post offering to guide teams. His son Caleb had been there too. 22 then. Pale and jumpy. Caleb looked like he hadn't slept in weeks, she said. I thought it was just the stress of the search. Now I wonder what he knew. A local, Diane Miller, came forward. She dated Caleb in 2016, before his crash. He was different after the girls went missing, she said. Kept saying his dad was making him do things he couldn't live with. Once, he showed up at my place with bruises, said he'd fallen hunting. I didn't believe him. Diane handed over a letter Caleb had left her, found after his death. If I'm gone, check the old Grayson cabin off Trail 19. Dad's hiding something. I'm sorry. The FBI swarmed the Trail 19 cabin. It was smaller, more remote, with a newer lock on the door. Inside, another basement. This one with a single cot, restraints, and a calendar marked through December 2016, scratched into the wall. Sarah N., 2013 to 2016. I'm still here. Ethan stared at his sister's name. Lila, carved beside it. They were alive, he whispered. For years. Ground, penetrating radar scanned the property. 3 anomalies appeared under the soil, each 6 feet long, spaced evenly like graves. Ethan watched as they dug, his heart in his throat. The first body was Emily Carter, identified by dental records. Then Mia Rodriguez. Then Ava Thompson. All killed in late 2013. Buried carefully. Almost respectfully. But Lila and Sarah weren't there. Ethan clung to hope. But Torres's face was grim. We're missing too, he said. And Victor's still out there. A journal page, hidden in the cabin's insulation, changed everything. In Caleb's handwriting, October 2016. Dad's moving Sarah again. Lila's gone. I can't do this anymore. I tried to tell the sheriff, but Dad knows everyone. He'll kill me if I talk. The last line was scrawled in panic. Sarah's alive. Find her before he does. Victor Grayson had vanished. His cabin was empty. His truck gone. The FBI issued a nationwide alert. But Ethan knew Victor was too smart to be caught easily. He'd been hiding in plain sight for years, fixing fences, shaking hands, while his victims suffered. And Sarah Wynn, Ethan's last hope for answers about Lila, might still be alive, somewhere in Victor's grip. As night fell over the Black Hills, Ethan stood at the cabin, staring at the warning on the wall. Leave this place. Nothing here is worth your life. It wasn't just a warning. It was Victor's confession. His way of marking his territory. Somewhere out there, Sarah was fighting to survive. And Ethan swore he'd find her. But what he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Victor wasn't alone. The real monster was still watching, and the truth was far darker than anyone imagined. The Black Hills swallowed Sarah Wynn, and Ethan Harper was running out of time to find her. Victor Grayson, the man who'd held 5 friends captive in a hidden cabin, was gone. And the truth about his crimes was only starting to unravel. Agent Mark Torres's team worked through the night, turning Victor's remote cabin into a grid of evidence. Every splinter, every stain, was cataloged. The journal page in Caleb Grayson's handwriting found hidden in the insulation had cracked the case open. Sarah was alive in 2016, 3 years after the girls vanished. But Lila Harper, Ethan's sister, was gone. And the words, "Dad's moving Sarah again," haunted him. Where was Victor taking her? And who else knew about this? The FBI traced Victor's shell company deposits to a network of accounts across 3 states. The money wasn't just funding a lone predator, it was fueling a trafficking ring. Torres pulled missing persons reports from South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana. 42 women, aged 18 to 25, gone since 2008. Many from towns where Victor had worked as a handyman. He wasn't just taking girls, Torres told Sheriff Laura Bennett. He was supplying them to someone higher up. Ethan couldn't sleep. Pacing outside the crime scene, clutching Lila's star keyring, he'd spent 5 years searching for her, only to find her friends' bodies buried like secrets. But Sarah was still out there. And Caleb's note suggested Victor had helped someone in Custer. Someone trusted. Ethan remembered Victor at the 2013 search, his calm voice, his helpful tips that led nowhere. He was playing us, Ethan told Torres. The whole town was his cover. A lead came from an unexpected source. Jenny Patel, a bartender at Custer's Rusty Spur, called the sheriff's office. She'd known Caleb Grayson, had poured him whiskeys in 2016 when he started unraveling. He came in one night, drunk, muttering about his dad. Jenny said Victor was cleaning up something at a place called the Quarry. I thought he meant construction work. The Quarry was an abandoned gravel pit, 10 miles northeast, off any map. Caleb had died a month after that conversation, his car wrapped around a tree. No one had questioned it then. Now, it felt like murder. Torres's team descended on the Quarry. The pit was overgrown, its edges crumbling, but fresh tire tracks led to a rusted shipping container half buried in the earth. The lock was new, gleaming against the decay. Ethan watched as agents cut it open, his breath catching. Inside, a cot, a bucket, women's clothes recent, not from 2013. A notebook was taped under the cot, pages filled with Sarah Wynn's handwriting. October 2016. He moved me here. Caleb brings food on Wednesdays. Says he's sorry. Says he's trying. I don't know where Lila is. Day 1127. Victor's angry. Says someone's asking questions. I hear him on the phone, talking about a buyer. The last entry, dated November 2016. Caleb gave me a key. Said to run, if I get the chance. I hear tires. He's coming. The key was in the notebook, small, brass, for a padlock. It didn't fit the container's lock. Ethan gripped it, his mind racing. She was here, he said. Sarah was alive, and Caleb was helping her. But the quarry was empty now, and Victor's truck hadn't been seen in days. Sheriff Bennett found a gas receipt in Victor's cabin, dated September 2018, from a station 20 miles away. The timestamp, 2:47 a.m., hours after Greg Lawson found the RAV4. Victor had been on the move, maybe with Sarah. Imagine standing in that container, reading Sarah's words, knowing she was fighting to survive while the world forgot her. Would you keep chasing the truth, or would the hopelessness swallow you? Torres cross-referenced the gas receipt with security footage. The grainy video showed Victor's truck, a woman in the passenger seat, blonde, head down, maybe Sarah. The cashier remembered her. She looked scared, he said. Didn't speak, just stared at the floor, while the guy paid cash. The truck headed north, toward Deadwood. Torres issued an alert for Victor Grayson, 62, armed and dangerous, possibly with a hostage. Ethan went to Victor's main cabin again, searching for anything missed. In the attic, he found a locked box, pried open with a crowbar. Inside were photos, dozens of women, some as early as 2005. None identified except the 5 friends. One photo showed Sarah, gaunt, staring at the camera, dated 2016. Another showed Lila, bruised but alive, same year. Ethan's knees buckled. His sister had survived longer than he'd dared hope. But where was she now? A name surfaced in Victor's bank records, Dr. Alan Kessler, 67. Custer's only surgeon, a respected figure who'd treated half the town. Kessler had deposited $50,000 into the same shell company account in 2013, the year the girls vanished. Sheriff Bennett knew him. Kessler had stitched her up after a car accident in 2010. Always at community events. Always smiling. He was at the search, she said, voice tight. Brought sandwiches for the volunteers. The FBI raided Kessler's clinic. His office was pristine, but a hidden room behind a bookshelf held medical supplies, restraints, and a ledger. Entries listed patients by initials: LH, SN, EC, MR, AT, the 5 friends. Dates matched their disappearance, with notes on treatments and transfers. One entry, December 2016. SN relocated to secondary site. Buyer confirmed. Kessler wasn't just a buyer. He was the orchestrator, selecting girls, conditioning them, selling them to a network. Kessler was arrested at his home, calm, almost smug. You have nothing, he said as agents cuffed him. But his computer told a different story. Encrypted files, cracked by the FBI, revealed emails to buyers in Denver, Billings, Cheyenne. Kessler had run the ring since 2005, using Victor as his collector. The 5 friends were a special order for a high-paying client. Sarah was kept alive as leverage over Caleb, who'd started asking questions. Ethan confronted Kessler at the station, separated by glass. Where's my sister? Where's Sarah? Kessler smirked. Lila was a fighter. Too much trouble. Sarah, though, she's valuable. You'll never find her. Ethan lunged, stopped by agents. Kessler's words burned. Sarah was alive, but for how long? A tip came from Diane Miller, Caleb's ex. She'd found a burner phone in Caleb's old jacket, hidden after his death. It had one message, sent November 2016 to an untraceable number. Quarry. Sarah's there. I can't do this anymore. Caleb had tried to save her, but Victor had caught him. The car crash wasn't an accident. Tire marks suggested another vehicle forced Caleb off the road. Torres's team searched Kessler's properties. At his vacation home in Deadwood, they found a basement with a steel door, locked with a padlock. Ethan's key, the one from Sarah's notebook, fit perfectly. Inside, a single room, a cot, a bucket, and fresh food wrappers, dated 2 days ago. Sarah had been here, alive, until Victor moved her again. Blood on the floor, still wet, matched Sarah's DNA. She was injured but alive, and Victor was running. Sheriff Bennett pulled Kessler's phone records. He'd called a number in Rapid City hours before the raid. The number traced to a motel, where agents found Victor's truck, abandoned. Inside, a map with a circled location, an old mine shaft 15 miles north. Ethan insisted on going. She's my sister's best friend. I owe Lila this. The mine was a labyrinth, its tunnels unstable. Search dogs caught Sarah's scent, leading to a locked gate. Beyond it, a faint sound breathing. Agents broke through, and there she was. Sarah Nguyen, 27. Emaciated, chained to a wall, alive. She flinched at the light, whispering, "He's coming back." Victor had left her hours ago, promising to return. Sarah's eyes met Ethan's. "Lila, she's gone," she said, voice breaking. "She fought for us. Victor killed her in 2016. Sarah's rescue was bittersweet. She was alive. But Lila wasn't." Ethan held her as medics worked, her words tearing him apart. "Lila said, to tell you she loved you. She never stopped fighting." Sarah described years of captivity, Victor's cruelty, Caleb's secret kindness, Kessler's cold efficiency. She'd been moved between sites, sold to Kessler, then hidden when the FBI closed in. "Caleb gave me hope," she said. "He died trying to free me." Victor was still out there, but not for long. A hiker reported a man matching his description at a gas station 30 miles away. Torres's team cornered him in a motel room. Victor didn't resist, just smiled. "You think this ends with me?" he said. His phone had texts to an unknown contact. "Clean the sites. They're too close." The network was bigger than Kessler, bigger than Victor. Sarah's testimony unraveled it. She'd overheard Kessler and Victor discussing accounts buyers across the West, judges, cops, businessmen. She'd memorized names, dates, locations. The FBI raided a meeting in Denver, arresting 37 men, rescuing 9 girls. Kessler flipped, naming 62 others, his records detailing 89 victims over 15 years. The network had trafficked hundreds, enabled by Custer's silenced neighbors who ignored Victor's late-night drives, officials who dismissed odd cash deposits, a doctor who treated injuries without questions. At a town meeting, Sarah stood before 200 people, her voice steady but raw. "You saw Victor around, fixing your roofs, coaching your kids. You saw Caleb, broken, begging for help. You chose not to look. That's why we suffered." A woman shouted, "We didn't know." Sarah held up her notebook, 53 moments where someone could have acted a teacher who saw Caleb's bruises, a banker who ignored Victor's money, a cop who dismissed a tip. "You didn't want to know," she said. The room fell silent. "I think about this case at night sometimes, wondering how many signs we miss because it's easier to look away. How many Victors are out there, hiding behind friendly smiles?" The trials lasted a year. Kessler got life without parole. Victor, 87 years. The network's collapse led to 214 arrests, 47 girls rescued, 112 bodies recovered. Custer's population dropped from 9,000 to 4,000. 500 families fled, businesses closed, the town stained by its complicity. Sarah moved to Minneapolis, working with survivors, her scars a daily reminder. Ethan visits Lila's grave weekly, leaving her favorite sunflowers. He started a foundation in her name, funding trafficking prevention. The cabin was razed, replaced by a memorial stone for Lila, Emily, Mia, Ava, and all who suffered. We remember. Sarah carved her name beside Lila's, a final act of defiance. The terrible truth wasn't just Victor or Kessler. It was a town that let evil grow, a community that chose comfort over courage. But Sarah survived, and Caleb's sacrifice exposed it all. In the math of horror, one person's fight can save dozens, but the cost is a wound that never heals. As Ethan stood at the memorial, he whispered, "You were right, Lila. You fought, and we're still fighting for you." Well, have you ever heard of a case like this? Comment your thoughts. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.